There's a moment in life when you look at someone and you finally understand. You didn't fall for them because they were right for you. You fell for them because a part of you was starving for something you didn't even know you were missing. And they walked into your life carrying the exact shape of your old wounds, the exact texture of the ache you grew up with, and without realizing it, your heart whispered, "This feels familiar. This feels like home," even though it was the farthest thing from love. I want to take you back to the first time you felt that pull, that strange magnetic energy that didn't make sense, because on paper everything told you to run. Everything told you to stay away. Everything told you they weren't capable of loving you the way you needed. But your heart leaned in anyway, and you didn't stop it. You didn't question it. You didn't even slow down, because something in you felt alive in a way it hadn't felt in years. And that's the part you don't like admitting, the part you pretend wasn't true, the part you try to ignore whenever you talk about that person. Deep down, you know it wasn't love, it was recognition, it was familiarity, it was an emotional pattern waking up inside you. Because the truth is, we don't fall for people randomly. We fall for people who align with our history, our scars, our unmet needs, our early emotional template. The heart doesn't chase what's healthy, it chases what's familiar. And when someone mirrors the chaos you grew up negotiating, when someone has the same emotional unavailability you used to fight for, when someone has the same coldness you used to try to warm, something inside you lights up like, I know this feeling, I know this kind of hurt. Maybe this time I can fix it. Maybe this time I can win the love I never got. And so you chase. Not because they're special, but because the wound is. And that's the hardest part to accept. That you didn't fall for them because they were extraordinary. You fell for them because your nervous system mistook their patterns for safety. It's wild how the body confuses intensity with intimacy, how the heart confuses anxiety with attraction, how the mind confuses inconsistency with passion. So you start blaming yourself. You start wondering why you weren't enough, why they didn't choose you, why they didn't see you. But the reality is they couldn't love you because they weren't built to. They weren't capable of meeting you in the places you needed connection. They weren't emotionally equipped to give you anything deeper than the surface. And still, you ran after them with your whole heart because something in you believed that if you could win them, you could finally heal the old ache inside you. And maybe you don't talk about this part either, but a part of you wanted to prove something, not to them, but to yourself. You wanted to prove you were lovable, you were worthy, you were finally enough for someone who could never choose you in the past. So you tried too hard. You gave too much. You explained yourself more than you ever should have. You waited for messages that barely came. You settled for crumbs and told yourself it was a feast. You created stories around their silence, excuses around their distance, fantasies around their indifference. Because your heart wasn't chasing love, it was chasing resolution. But here's the truth you never learned early enough. You don't heal by winning people like this. You heal by walking away from them. You heal by recognizing that love should not feel like begging, or anxiety, or confusion, or emotional hunger. Love should feel like peace, like safety, like clarity, like presence. And sometimes the universe sends you someone who can't love you back, not to break you, but to wake you up, to show you what you've been accepting, to show you how low your standards have been, to show you the version of yourself you've become in order to be chosen. Think about the version of you that person brought out. The overthinking, the insecurity, the fear of losing something that wasn't even real, the emotional hunger for someone who barely showed up, the self-doubt, the silence you tried to decode, the nights you stayed awake asking questions they never cared enough to answer. That wasn't love. That was self-betrayal. That was your heart carrying the weight of two people. That was you trying to build a connection single-handedly. And yet, you loved them in a way they never deserved. And that's the part that hurts the most. That you were willing to give what they weren't willing to receive. That you opened doors they never stepped through. That you saw potential they never intended to fulfill. You gave them a place in your life they didn't earn. And still, when they left, you blamed yourself, like you could have tried harder, like you could have fixed it, like you were the reason it didn't work. But the truth is, you can't love someone into emotional maturity. You can't heal someone who refuses to face themselves. You can't make someone choose you when their heart is locked behind walls you didn't create. And you can't save someone who's drowning in their own wounds while pretending they're fine. Some people don't want healing. They want comfort. Some people don't want connection. They want attention. Some people don't want love. They want control. And you walked into their life with your heart open, hoping they would see your worth. But all they saw was an opportunity to be seen without ever having to look back at you. You didn't fall in love with who they were. You fell in love with who you hoped they could become. And that's why letting go feels so impossible. Because you're not grieving the person, you're grieving the potential. You're grieving the future you imagined. You're grieving the version of yourself that believed this time would be different. You're grieving the story you wrote in your head long before they ever showed up for you. And the heartbreak isn't just losing them, it's losing the fantasy. But I want you to hear this deeply. The person who could never love you back is not evidence that you are unlovable. They are evidence that you've been loving people you had to earn instead of loving people who naturally choose you. They're evidence of your capacity for devotion, not your lack of worth. They're evidence that your heart is big, not broken. They're evidence that the love you've been giving belongs somewhere safer, somewhere softer, somewhere stable. And maybe right now it feels like you lost something irreplaceable, but what you actually lost was the illusion that you had to fight for what should have been freely given. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the pain you're carrying now is the doorway to becoming someone who no longer settles for emotional breadcrumbs. Someone who no longer mistakes chaos for chemistry. Someone who no longer confuses longing with compatibility. Someone who understands the difference between being wanted and being valued. You deserve a love that doesn't make you question yourself. You deserve a love that doesn't disappear. You deserve a love that meets you where you are. You deserve a love that feels like coming home, not like surviving a storm. And the moment you realize that, truly realize it, that's the moment you stop chasing people who never had the capacity to catch you. Because the truth is, you didn't fall for someone who couldn't love you back because you were weak. You fell for them because you were unhealed. And now that you're healing, you're becoming the version of yourself who will never choose that kind of pain again. And that's the beauty of this whole experience. It didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It revealed what you've outgrown. It revealed what you deserve. It revealed the depth of your heart. And now you know you don't ever have to chase love again. The right love will meet you. The right love will hold you. The right love will stay. And if you and I are anything alike and you want to keep walking this path with me, then subscribe.